and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go through the battle patch yesterday on my stream because servers went down, so I wasn't able to do anything. I'm going to try to keep it really short and simple so the video is not long as much as I would like to go, while also, going to details. Balance change this, I was really excited for it, but this season's balance change, pretty disappointing because most of it are reverts, nothing really new, though I'm really glad that they're addressing it instead of just forcing the issue and ignoring it. So, I believe the patch notes, yeah, I can see them. I'm not gonna go through the rework, you guys probably seen it somewhere else, but I'd like to talk about a very few things. The damage increase here on the 7.5 to 8, because I don't want you guys to confuse it. I think it's like a very big deal. It's really not that big of a deal, though. I mean, it does help the character, that's for sure. But that's not the biggest change in her gun, because you have to keep in mind that her passive, the opportunist, got removed, which was the low HP wall hack that you can see, and the 25% extra damage on hack target. Now that's gone, so you have to keep in mind that that's sort of a compensation. The 0.5 damage increase on her gun is more of a compensation to that. So rather than just straight up buff, so because before she used to do 25% extra damage on hack targets, now that's gone, so they gave her 0.5 damage more on her gun. The one that you guys focus on, the spread was reduced to 0. That's really good. And the number of shots until max spread has been increased from 3 to 6. That's exactly the change, same change they gave Soldier a few patches ago, which improved the character. I feel like changes like these are more like when you force a character into the meta, but this is a rework, so we'll go for it now. We'll go with that now, but that's the kind of these are the changes that you guys should be focusing on. And the reload time reduced from 1.4 to 1.2. Now these are the real changes, okay? The rest you guys probably have seen it everywhere else. The hack, the rework, I'm not gonna go through that. But the thing that I would like to talk about, Sombra before didn't have that high burst damage. She was more of an EMP bot, like Genji. A lot of people call it Glade bot, although he does have a really good high burst damage. Now, the things that you guys should be looking for is she has that high burst damage. She can burst a 200 HP target very quickly. I'm talking about without even hacking the target, because 100 over 4 seconds is still a lot. But keep in mind, you can do it over 2 seconds if you hack the target. Now, like, look at this. Oh, let's kill him real quick.
You were boring me.
Like, look at this burst target. See what I'm talking about? Like, and keep in mind, I didn't hack the target, but let's see. Let's hack the target. You see, like, this is what's terrifying, and the character definitely. This is a straight buff, so you guys should definitely look for it. I'm personally gonna play Sombra this season, even though I'm not a Sombra player, but this Sombra looks pretty terrifying, to say the least. But of course, patch notes are one thing and game itself is another thing. But keeping the lookout for Sombra. Sombra is definitely a character you'd like to play and abuse this season. As always, every Sombra rework is out, I think this is like the first time they buff her or rework her, so it's gonna be nerfs that she's gonna receive sometime in the near future. But till then, you guys should definitely play her. Orisa, that 5% less damage. I'm not sure if this will kill. This will not. No, actually, this will not kill the character by any means. But in some sort of scenarios, you will notice it just a little bit. But in general, this will not really affect the character. 5% isn't really that much, especially with how strong the support role is. So 5%. I personally think Orisa will still be meta. But in some sort of scenarios, you will notice that 5% nerf against very specific team comps, like against Zenyatta, against Bastion, But really, I don't see any other team comps that I would struggle or I would notice the nerf. The Ramatra buff, I personally was expecting a Ramatra buff, but this is not what I was expecting or what I was hoping for. But I know 1 second sounds like a small buff. It is. I know some people say it is big, like it is like kind of good, but believe me, that 1 second saves lives. Saves lives. That's a fact. And overall, it will increase the character uptime. So I guess this is just like an overall, but like a slight buff, but I don't think it's just the meta is not good for Ramatra. I feel like when the meta is good for Ramatra, then you'll see Ramatra popping off. But I'm glad that they're not forcing Ramatra into the meta. I personally don't think Ramatra is bad by any means. I just feel like the meta is not suitable for Ramatra because poking style is way too strong, and especially Orisa is meta, and when Orisa is meta, a lot of tanks will struggle in general. Wrecking Ball buff, that's actually pretty huge. I feel like out of all the tanks, Ball got a pretty good buff. The 10%, the 10 extra bullets to reach max spread is always anything about the spread is always a straight buff. It's a pretty good buff for Ball players. The Zarya is a revert, though she still retains the 2 second buff on her projectile barrier. So this is like small tuning down, which it's really not that big of a deal. It will affect overall. It will affect just how you get the charge on Zarya, but I personally think Zarya will still be the meta because Orisa and Zarya are the meta for the last season. Cassidy, I feel like this buff is pretty nice. For once, I like and love how they're not forcing Cassidy into the meta because I'm a Cassidy hater. I'm biased because I'm a Pharah player. I feel like he's the worst hit scan. Not worse by being bad. I feel like he's so oppressive, so boring to play against. We've all seen how Cassidy was so boring to play against when he was meta. I personally think this buff is pretty good for him. And keep in mind, the meta that we're on right now, you might see a lot of Cassidy because Sombra is going to be meta. You're going to see a lot of Sombra, and you're going to see Doomfist was pretty much all over the place last season. So this buff will be really good for him. And I personally, the nade is really good against Sombra. So in general, I feel like this is a pretty good buff. Not forcing the issue onto the Cassidy. And but I'm biased. I hate to see any kind of Cassidy buff because they never buff Pharah. Mei, I'm not really I don't really understand the back and forth with Mei. They removed the deep chill. They gave her more. They reverted everything. That's a straight up revert because last season, they gave her deep chill. They nerfed her damage and they gave her some of her CC back. Now they removed her CC completely, like the deep chill, and they give her damage back, and she instantly gets 40% slowed enemies instead of building by time. I feel like Mei is going to be really good. So bad news, sad news for everybody, but Mei is going to be good. This is the nerf that I was expecting. I mean, this is the character that I was expecting to get nerfed, but not this big of a nerf. I was expecting this is a revert, the revert gun. Last season they buffed it to .51. Now they reverted back to. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. They buffed it from 51 to 48. Now they reverted the buff to .48 to .50. That's the recovery. It made the gun really, because as much as I'm a fan of a Torbjorn, and I always told everybody to abuse Torbjorn last season, I personally did. I won a lot of games for free. I just don't feel like a character should be as strong and oppressive, and no hero should be that strong, especially for a DPS, really. Because the thing that Torbjorn thrives is he's pretty much a sniper without having to fear of getting one-shotted, because in his Overlord form, he doesn't get one-shotted by Widowmaker or Hanzo, I believe. So you can literally take a duel against everybody without being afraid of one-shotted. So, and he was shooting a sniper on a machine gun rate. So, pretty warranted nerf, though this is the nerf that I wasn't actually expecting, but pretty warranted, not gonna lie. Overhealth bonus decreased from 100 to 75, though I'm not really sure if he can get one-shotted now, but pretty substantial nerf. But I don't think it's gonna kill the character by any means, by any sense of the word. I feel like it's still gonna be good, but definitely not that good. You just gotta aim a little bit. Pretty good Brigida buff, pretty warranted. LA nerf, I still don't think that will kill the character, but she will definitely feel the nerf. 15 less HP, that is not a big deal. Other than that, there's no any more balance change, but a few things that I would like to talk to you about, worth mentioning, is if I keep going down there, there's a few good additions that they added. I didn't see it anywhere else on YouTube or Instagram before today. So if check your character, whoever you main, they added some sensitivity, relative sensitivity. This is really good. I've been asking about some of the heroes, but looking at mine, I checked Echo because I play Echo. They did not add Echo relative sensitivity for her beam, but they added a lot of characters. Whole Hog, Sigma. They added Winston during Primal Rage. They didn't add Echo, which is pretty disappointing. But you can't ask them all. They didn't add. No, they did add relative sensitivity for Dragon Blade, pretty huge. So you don't have to mess up your sensitivity to try to because on Blade you need a really high sense, but you can't. I personally I cannot control my aim if I put a high sense in order to get to land a good blade. So I either get a good blade and miss every shot, or hit every shot but be a bad blader. So. Farah got really good change here, that she also got that relative aim sensitivity during Rocket Barrage. Pretty good, well, not buff, but, pretty good quality of life change. Though, again, no Farah buff, but Farah is the next hero that they're going to looking at. Also a pretty good change here. This is what I'm talking about, relative aim sensitivity for Tactical Visor. So check your character. Maybe you'll find something that will improve your hero. They are talking about mid-season we're going to get the Hog rework, so pretty excited about that. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I will also making another video talking about which heroes that you should guys definitely abuse, and which heroes that you should guys pretty much avoid as much as possible. And I'll also be making videos on the good heroes in competitive and giving you tips about them, hoping that it'll help you guys to rank up. So I think that was it for today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.